coming to the end, I do want to talk about, because it's one of my favorite topics. I love sales. Sales is all shades of gray. We talk about organizations, because really what I want to get out of you guys, and as we close this out, working with sales teams can be invaluable for the sales leadership. I want to be really clear about that, right? I also believe it's where it's the most hardened, and also where people feel so threatened, right, is changing their sales process. But if they have this willingness to be a lifelong learner and get better, the results can be exponential. So if you're a sales leader, and this is kind of the section we want to talk about, walk me through why, right, when you think about working with other groups within an organization versus just the sales leadership team or sales, right, why it's so difficult, and then what you believe you can do to help sales leaders.
I think a lot of times salespeople are like individual sports guys, right? They rely on themselves. They produce for themselves. And when you have an organization and you have a culture, it only takes a few people within that culture, right, to take it down. So when you have a culture and then you have a sales team that is based on individuals, right, in individual production and reaching certain goals and receiving certain honors, it's contrary to the rest of the culture in the organization. And this is another one that is really a challenge. We have been successful, not 100%, right? Sometimes it's hard to break that, and that comes from the top, right? If the leader and the CEO is not willing to look at sales as something that is more transformational in relationship than transactional, we're going to fail. And that's the challenge. Can we get sales teams and CEOs to understand that the transformational aspect of sales should trump the transactional piece of sales, right, if that makes sense?
So really what you're getting at, first off with sales, it does have to come from the top. And it is difficult. We were talking about in our pre-discussion about how tough it is to sort of unpack like something that's already existing within a sales organization, right? But what I would encourage you as a sales leader, and you're thinking about it, these are such worthwhile conversations, because just the smallest little changes can have such a big impact. And I think what, Jim, you were just getting at is every situation is going to be a little bit different, but getting in and analyzing what's really going on and have a consulting group like yourselves that can facilitate that, I think it's worth its weight in gold.
I mean, here's a piece, Guy, that's really, it's uncomfortable, right? It's that capability versus capacity piece, right? Capability is a learned, right? Capability could be a script that you recite on a sales call. But when there's some pushback, you need capacity, right? You need to be able to adjust and handle, in real time. That's where resilience comes in, right? Real-time challenges. If you just continue to follow the script and push in this direction, you could be going completely off where your prospect, needs you to be. And, we'll run into, very capability-based sales teams where we try to, instill the idea of capacity, right? And being able to think on your feet and make adjustments and actually lead the client and be able to provide for them what they truly need, not what you think they need.
Yes, value.
Yeah.
Right, value. So, JC, any comments just as we're talking about sales teams and your approach?
I think that what we do with sales teams, and again, I certainly don't consider myself a salesperson. So for me, it's just really about talking to the sales leaders about why they do certain things and what the benefit they think of that is, especially if it's what I think is contrary to what could get them to the next level. We know at the base of human requirements is a need for connection. It's at the root of everything we do. We have to have this connection. Everybody gets this wrong and they think, oh, we need purpose. People need purpose. People need connection. Once they find connection, then they'll find purpose. Sometimes it's good and sometimes it's bad purpose. But if we start to look at something that separates people, like, and we see this all the time with sales, right? They hey, here's our number 1 salesman, our number 2 salesman, our number 3 salesman. Hey, that's great. You just put a whole lot of pressure on the number 1 salesperson. The number 5 salesperson feels like a turd. Like that's like, okay, now do you think that that's what's going to motivate them? For some, it will, about a third. But if you said, look, I don't want 1 great salesman and 4 mediocre salespeople. I would rather have 5 good salespeople.
Right.
So the question is, how do we connect these people in a way that's meaningful so that they can all be successful, they can all lift each other up as they climb, and it's not a threat, it's actually what we want them to do. So asking the questions about like, okay, so what would happen if we did it this way?